The following program is a special presentation from Home Box Office.
Hello everybody, Jason up, New 80's Revolution Cave. And happy Friday to you, I believe that's the day, Friday. And had something come in the mail today. I said last video that we have a lot of fun stuff coming from the eBay. And that certainly is the case, but it looks like it's all going to come Monday, Tuesday. I don't even think anything comes tomorrow. But I did get something today that's a little different from the toys, and it leads me to another video. We've talked about television since the beginning of this channel, and more specifically, we've talked about cable television since the beginning of this channel, and I am realizing more and more that this channel goes on and that I go on, that television and television sets are just becoming more and more special to me. And they are sort of symbolic of our childhoods. I mean, that big old thing right there, that is symbolic. That's a symbol. That is a visually iconic image of our childhoods. And they're just, to me, they're beautiful. They're wonderful. Just like our toys, our action figures, our visually iconic images of our childhood, the television set, to me, is right up there with the toys, as far as something that you can look at and it immediately takes you back to a feeling, to a moment, to a day of the week, to a time of the day, to a particular television show, to a household feeling, just to the feeling of a carpet, the feeling of a couch, just by looking at one of these things. Just by looking at that, we can be transported back in time to a wonderful period. So I can only collect so many televisions. I think down the road, as years go on and children get older, I'll probably have more space available to me. And not that I want that or want to rush that at all. I certainly don't. I would like my children to live here for the rest of their lives. That's true. But eventually I'll probably have a little more space. I'm sure at least Finley will go on to big things in life. But I plan on collecting more televisions down the road. I've got 4 of them in the garage. Problem is, a couple of them don't even have plugs attached. They were junk. I junked them, or I saved them from the junk. And eventually I might just toss those out or have, I wouldn't know how to rewire them. But anyway, in addition to televisions, the cable box is, again, just looking at a particular style of cable box. I can go back to the time when we had that cable box. And a friend of mine and I were having lunch today, and we were talking about the channels that we remember, and not just the name of the channel. That's easy, anybody knows that, but we knew the number of the channel. You know, here in good old Rochester, New York, we knew that MTV was channel 22. And then it eventually went to 26 or 27, and VH1 was right after it. We knew that ESPN was 24. We knew that HBO was 14, but first it was 3. TBS has always been channel 6. USA has always been channel 30. And that's just locked into our brains. Well, I've got a small collection of cable boxes, and one just came today, so I figured I would show it off to you. But I'll show you the one that is the cable box memory inducer, and that is this slider from Hamlin. Apparently Hamlin was a cable box maker, but this is the old slider. And this cable box immediately takes me back to 8 years old, 9 years old, in the childhood home, in the basement bedroom, the finished basement bedroom, with this thing sitting on a nightstand by my bed. Wasn't my furniture. It was a 19-year-old cousin of mine's furniture who lived with us for a little while. I've told that story a million times. And so when I went down there to take that over as my bedroom, I left all my bedroom furniture in my room, my room upstairs, and I used his stuff. I used his bed, I used his nightstand, I used his television. I don't know why it was left there. I think it was ours to begin with. I'm not sure. But this was on my nightstand, right near my head. And when I would turn on the old TV, I don't think it was this. When I would turn on the old TV, this is the sound that you would hear coming out of 9-year-old me's room at night. And I just love this thing so much. And this was one that I searched for and had to have the white with the wood grain slider. This thing here was either a tuner, to get better reception, if you could believe that. I also think that it might have switched to be able to get a few more channels. I mean, this only goes up to 35. And maybe if there were any channels after 35 or in the 40s, I think you would spin this and it would like almost switch to the next tier. I don't know. I do know that if it was a little bit scrambly, you would basically tune it in with this knob, and I just love this thing so much. And there's that. So today, and I didn't have this, but I love this style of cable box. Today it came in the mail. The brown Hamlin cable box, a bit bulkier. Is there a date on it? No, there's a serial number. That's great. Input, you got your cable input in the back. Let's see, did this have one? No. Okay, this didn't have one because it had a gigantic cord and box attached to it with a super long 30-foot cord that would have to go all the way around the room and coax into the back of your TV. Had a box on it that's bigger than the cable box. Basically had a box this big attached to a cord, and it was attached to this thing. So you had the cable box, and then you had like the converter or whatever just sitting somewhere on your floor. So this one looks like it's actually a newer model with the coax right in the back. So you would just plug this in and plug your TV in, and you would not need the big, I don't even know what you'd call it, the amplifier or whatever. So no date on this, but same deal, beautiful sound, a little thicker, obviously, than this one, but great, awesome. Never had the brown. Now, what I like about this is there's plastic on top. Now, what on earth would you do with plastic on top? Well, you'd have your channel sticker guide. You'd have your channel card. Well, who are we? Rochester Cablevision. You'd get a little piece of paper, and it would have all your channel listings on it, and you'd slide it inside of the plastic here, and just right there you could, I need MTV. I got to get to channel 22. This is pretty awesome. Now, this had way more stations. This one goes up to 42. This one only goes up to 36. This goes up to 42. A little bit more modern with the coax in the back. So love that. That one just came today. That's the newest cable box that I have. And a couple others that I have, I may have shown you in the past, but I'm showing you again now. As we got into cable in 89, 90, we started getting into a company called Scientific Atlanta. Scientific Atlanta was making the cable boxes for Time Warner. So after Rochester Cablevision, of course, was swallowed up by Time Warner, we started getting the Scientific Atlanta boxes. And I have two of them. We had this cable box. And when I saw it, I needed to have it because we had it. This doesn't have a cord, unfortunately. Someone sliced off the cord. But you have your input output. And any date on this? No, unfortunately, no date. But it is beautiful. Yeah, no date. I'm thinking like 89, 90. It would have a red. It would have a red light up. In fact, I really wish this did have the plug, because I would love to see if this thing lights up still. But it would have red digital channel displays, and this one's really simple. Off. AU, PRG, and plus and minus. So if you're using the box, you're using the plus and minus button. I'm not sure what AU and PRG means, but here's our Scientific Atlanta cable box. Now this one has a remote, and I'm sure a lot of you remember this little particular tiny simple remote, folks. This was it. This was it. In fact, whenever I would turn this off, I remember at my dad's house, I told you, every one of these boxes has memory. When I would turn the box off, it would make a popping sound. It would go boom. that noise is burned in my brain. My dad's TV, whenever I turn, boom, and it would just turn off. So good. The Scientific Atlanta cable box and remote. Again, no date, but so good. Love this. Love this little set. And then the other Scientific Atlanta one I have, again, it's a little bit more modern. Probably into 93. And no date on this. Scientific Atlanta. And this one seems like a little bit more involved. As you can see, it's got power, it's got channel up and down, it's got volume up and down, it's got mute, it's got menu, and it's got pay-per-view. So it has the pay-per-view button. Now I don't remember what you would do with this, because any pay-per-view I ever got, I would have to call the Time Warner number, and it was local. We had a local call center, obviously, and you would order the pay-per-view over the phone, and that was the only way you were getting it. So I don't know what the pay-per-view button was. I assume it probably took you to the pay-per-view block of channels. I don't know if you could order it off of this box. I don't think so. I think you had to still call. So that's the cable box collection. Four boxes. And there are still two more that I would love to have. There's one in my watch list, which is a black box with a spinning dial that we had. And then I want to say, and I could be wrong, I want to say that Zenith made a cable box. I'm going to do a little research. The Zenith cable box that I remember was a big square and had the buttons on top of it. So it would be bigger than this. It would be a square, but then the digital readout and the buttons were on top. I could be just dreaming that, but that's what I think. Cable TV was just so good. It was so good. Again, something that'll never be duplicated. It's why I have so many TV shows, and it's why I love getting taped off TV VHS tapes and just watching the bumpers and enjoying that. I'll put in a few bumpers here for you, see if any of these jar your memory of some of my favorite channels and just some of the best times just sitting in bed and flipping through cable and discovering things for the first time. So that's the little collection. That's your little Friday video. We'll see you next time. Good night now.
Tuesday night at 7, George Kennedy must save his family from himself in A Cry in the Wilderness. Family Flight, starring Rod Taylor, will return after these messages.
Every day is Valentine's Day on Love Connection.
And he just kept kissing me.
Monday through Friday at 1 on Channel 9.
The following program is a presentation of the USA Network.
They're funny, they're scary, they're hilariously horrifying. They're the Groovy Ghoulies, mornings at 8 o'clock, afternoons at 2:30, here on Channel 9.